When we were distant enough that the fire pit became a flicker, and the glow of Maggie's lantern was all that kept us from being swept up in the darkness, we reached a cavern wall, and she raised the light and illuminated an enormous fresco, colorful, primal, elegant, 10 or 12 feet tall, both carved and painted in a style I had never seen before, baffling me for a moment before I understood what I gazed upon. What first looked like a night sky was a dark forest interspersed with shadowy outlines of people sitting cross-legged, hands held high as if they lifted up at the sky. She raised her lantern higher and began to walk along the fresco, revealing the scene as she told the story. Above the first scene was a woman with a giant pair of eyes, long, darting tongue, 6 writhing arms, and a necklace of severed heads. I didn't want to admit she frightened me. I've never seen pagan artwork before. She snorted. Your Yogosi call everything they do not understand pagan. To your church, there is no difference between Lord Hathor's cult and our faith. Those sitting in prayer are the Imantaji, dwellers in darkness, ones who modeled discipline, resisted temptation, and mastered self. Only those who achieved total peace and balance within could join their ranks. Your Yogosi learned to fear and despise the darkness, but we have no fear of she who is many. In that moment, everything I thought I knew changed. Your creator is a goddess? Nothing so simple as a male or female embodiment or personification. You must look beyond the dichotomies forced upon you, Faron. The church would have you believe there can be only one absolute God, modeled by men like King Leo and Lord Hathor. Our gods would never constrain themselves to one gender or form, particularly one as limited as a human body. Just like the black sea between the stars and the darkness of the watery deep, the Divine Mother is infinite possibility, limitless potential. Before all else, there was she, formless, ever-changing, a rushing river, giving and taking both. Without her, nothing could exist. Maggie moved her lantern to the right and unveiled the next scene. A milk-white comet streaked through the image of Divine Mother, the smoking mountains created by the impact of this ancient celestial event immediately recognizable as the peaks of Hathor. Over the next several murals, the milk-white comet rose and fell from the mountains like a perverse sunrise and sunset, a cycle interrupted by the arrival of men in white, bowing before the shadowy outlines that represented the Imantaji. Those are church missionaries, I realized. When the first Yogosi arrived, they met with the Imantaji and claimed interest in our laws, our gods. Our leaders were shocked to discover the cruelty with which your people punished the disobedient, the rampant desecration of nature, and disregard for inner peace and balance in favor of material gain. Your missionaries were likewise baffled, as if ideas of freedom and justice had never occurred to them. Yogos had been blessed by the sole creator to be the greatest kingdom on earth, they said. She nodded at me knowingly. Church missionaries spent their lives converting others. They were reasoned, experienced, cogent, the inarguable arbiters of a holy life. Yet I had never learned that they came away from their first meeting with pagans, shaken and afraid. What did your priest say? Imantaji teach everything is one life, not just plants and animals, but the air we breathe, the water in the river, and the fire in the mountain. All is Divine Mother. But Yogosi treat everything as disposable. Stone, earth, animals, even people, their own people. Our knowledge was given freely, as was custom, believing that your missionaries were bereft, and they would be honor-bound to give something in return. My great-grandfather was there, spoke for the sages. He said Yorgos embraced not true freedom, but the chains of absolute power, offering temptation, then punishing those who succumbed, based on the belief that all peoples are evil and need correction. Your way is a trap, he told them. She revealed the final fresco. A pale cloud erupted from a mountain, spreading over Hathor like a wave, and emerging out of the wave at its forefront, a male figure, with a white oval for a face and 4 phallic limbs dissolving into thousands of dots until I realized the man and the wave were made up entirely of dots as well. I swallowed. Is that the hero? She shook her head. What you call the Pale King was never simply a man, no matter Lord Hathor's pretension that he and it are one and the same. Aboard the ship, it came and killed the men with me. Why? What is it? She was very still, and I realized she was afraid. The mountains hide an entity of insatiable hunger and malice, forever severed from Divine Mother. We know it only as the Deadlights. To look upon it is to be driven mad, left empty of morality or feeling, a hopeless husk, a death-seeker. In the end, the Deadlights devours itself. I struggled to act like I wasn't scared too. Why? Because death is preferable to a life without Divine Mother. What's happening here in Hathor was the inevitable end of your Gosi dominance. The man you know as bishop never accepted the truth about the church he served. The fool thought he could change the priesthood from within. Instead, he became yet another pawn for the king to use and discard. Her voice broke for the first and only time. She took a deep breath and cast the lantern light on me. Don't fall victim to the same folly. I wouldn't budge. Bishop challenged me to seek the Creator's light in the darkest of times. Please understand, who would I be if I didn't at least try to save him? Alive. She put her free hand on my shoulder. Faron, you've seen much since your return. Gluttony, betrayal, murder, and more. What didn't you see until now? The answer came slowly, then all at once. I recalled what Alistair said to me, stranger still in memory. The Pale King loves nothing more than youth. The many sights and revelations since arriving in Hathor, the hero's extravagant festivities, Bishop's confession, Land's treachery, had blinded me. I did not see what was in front of me, or rather, what was missing. There are no other children in Hathor. Maggie held the lantern close to her face so I would not mistake her words. Your hero takes them to the castle. Children of wealth are held hostage to force a ransom, but for every one of those, many more simply vanish. When the Lord's men came for your Gosi children, your people did nothing. Nothing while their children vanished, never to be seen again. The disappearances doubling every night your hero regaled them with his perverse spectacle. When Bishop came, I had a glimmer of foolish hope. A hope dashed the moment he spoke. The church's pet came not because of the children, but because of coin. Though she spoke of Bishop, her comment applied just as much to me. Perhaps that was why I plunged forward with such absurd defiance. I refused to be dissuaded from my mission, a mission I believed was bestowed by the sole Creator himself, and perhaps Divine Mother herself too. I don't want to hear any more. If you won't help, fine, I'll do it alone. I ran away from her like the foolish child I was. Too much like Bishop, both of us pretenders living in different skins, ashamed of where we came from. But you aren't reading this account for pity, are you, dear reader? No. What you want are answers. You want to know exactly what happens in the mystery of the Pale King. I thought I did too.